Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we are back for another recording of Hearthstone. So what we are in this situation is we need 5 Paladin victories and 5 Tavern victories, and in the process of getting 5 Paladin victories we will get 3 Paladin victories. So I suppose if I just play as Paladin right now and get the 3 Paladin victories, I could play 2 Warrior for 2 of the Tavern Brawls, and we may do that to keep it spiced up. The Tavern Brawl this week is nothing but just random things. Random deck, and when you draw the cards each turn they have randomized costs. So there is literally no skill in this at all. Well, that's not exactly accurate. You still have to understand what the cards do and play them and somewhat the right time.
I will fight with honor.
As far as deck building and strategy, before you start playing, that's all out the window. What you keep and what you even mulligan here is kind of all out the window because you don't know how much any of these cards are going to cost. This level 6 legendary here could easily be a 1 or 2 and I could play it. So, let's do this.
Reporting for duty.
And then we'll do this.
Will be purged for justice.
And put this here. So I was talking about last recording about this game. I think it's called In Division that they're working on, and it was being reviewed by another reviewer, or quick looked, not really reviewed, because it's a prototype of a game, and even at that, it was kind of funny too, is that the game has a blocking system that when you hold down the block button it drains your energy, and so he kept draining the energy down to 0, or he just didn't charge up the energy above 0, and he would try to block and he kept saying, well, this must be buggy, my block button's not working, and I'm looking right there at the energy bar, straight at it, yelling at the screen, basically going, no, the reason you can't block is because it requires energy. And I'm sure he'll get all kinds of comments telling him he screwed up.
I can see.
Hey, that's an easy way to win. This is definitely the type of Tavern Brawl where I would be conceding a lot, just because it's so random, there's no skill to it. So we'll do Warrior now, play with some random Warrior things, then that will at least give our Warriors some more experience as we try to get them all up to level 60. So at the end of the video, the reviewer said, yeah, I'll definitely I might be putting some money in the Kickstarter thing. And as more and more I try to be a responsible YouTuber and professional, funding Kickstarters in particular, I have just the perfect excuse to make the policy which I'm planning on following. And here's my policy. I have zero intention ever to fund any Kickstarter for anything video game related at all. I probably don't have any intention to fund any project through Kickstarter or anything else, let me just to broaden it out at all. So I'm not just saying specifically Kickstarter, even though I said it that way. It is so easy as a video game reviewer to just stay out of that and not bother funding anything. Of course, that might mean I do kind of shill for something if I want to see it succeed, but I'm gonna try my best not to stay objective. So if I think a game looks good, I'm gonna try my best to say that and and not just potentially continuously say, get this game, get this game. Now the other side of that, which is the more dangerous side in my mind and the more realistic that would happen, is eventually somebody somewhere is gonna give me a game code to review a game. Specifically to review a game. I've already gotten several free games through giveaways, and even then I'm labeling those games when I cover them. I'm gonna say I got them for free. So I'm not gonna discuss the price. I don't particularly discuss the price that much anyways. Let's try this. But I will mention at the beginning that I got the game for free via giveaway. So eventually that is gonna happen, unless I just have like get straight donations from my fans to the point where I can reject all things like that. And if somebody were to email me a code without talking to me even once before, I can still potentially say, no, I'll buy this game if I'm going to cover it, and then spend the money like every other gamer probably has to do. And that would be the best way to just avoid any claims of being influenced financially. I seriously doubt I would ever go to press events or anything like that. Of course, there is the problem of if I get to become to the point where I'm getting access to games, I'm probably going to start getting early access to games, and that is something I want to get. That would help my channel quite a lot. So if games are giving me, if people are giving me codes for free for games because I get early access, I need to then disclose not only did I get the game for free, but I also got early access, which is going to certainly, or it's impossible at least for me to disprove that it wouldn't help my videos. More than likely, almost certainly, having early access, having videos recorded, and having them air the second an embargo runs out is going to get me a lot more views, and that means a lot more ad revenue, and that means effectively I've been given some kind of financial advantage, some kind of financial incentive by the game creators.
Watch your back.
So yes, we will get into that mess eventually. I have never seen this card. Whenever you target this minion with a spell, gain Divine Shield. I have never seen this card at all. Viola Lightbane. So I'm gonna keep the 0 and this one, because I don't think in this one the zeros are getting randomized. I think if it's a 0, it stays a 0 always. Whenever I target this with a spell. So, yeah. I don't know if I want to really even get into the whole Kickstarter and the Indiegogo thing. I think my own personal opinion is we need to get back to a bedroom programming mentality. That is where a lot of the new ingenuities are coming from. That's where a lot of the great games in the past came from. It was from a small team of 5 people coming up with an idea and making a game as their first game. And they did it in their off time, and they worked
So many
second
options.
or third jobs on top of that to fund themselves. It's actually cheaper and easier to make a game nowadays than it ever has been, with the way Unreal and Unity license and give it themselves out practically for free. You can make something. So for people to immediately be ask for $100,000 and they haven't even started programming yet, it seems crazy. Now, if somebody said I had the game completely out and I just need $100,000 to advertise and
Sometimes I forget
to advertise and get it published,
On
I
guard!
might buy that as an argument, as something that the public should fund. But there's companies are chomping at the bit, I think. Well, the real big problem here is we can't just say EA, Ubisoft, and Nintendo are all just going to dry up and die. They need to publish, and the big publishers, I don't know if all of those were actually publishers or not,
This guy's
but
toast.
they need to have games to publish. And what they should do is they should be hiring and buying the independent games and publishing and working with them. So even if all the publishers that were existing now were just going to couldn't think of any new new games to make, so they were just going to flood the market with garbage instead. That's not what we want. What we want to do is not say whoever makes Assassin's Creed, we want to not have them take the attitude that they're saying, well, they're just going to push out another Assassin's Creed every year and it's going to get worse and worse and worse. We want them to take on the attitude to take their money, which they have, and fund new projects. And it not have the individual people, the video game buyers, try to pick and somehow fund solo projects themselves, because it just doesn't work. The inherent problem with all projects everywhere is that they don't always run under budget and on time, or before their schedule. They just don't always happen. And when an individual who doesn't understand how business works that much and doesn't realize that fact sees fund something and then it turns out that it doesn't happen,
We must
there we
cleanse
go.
the sun
We're gonna
well.
win. Look at there.
Taste my
They feel like they've been cheated, or that there was tomfoolery, or there was a scam going on, and all those things may be true. And it is just better in general for us to have publishers who have actual experience in these things be the ones that handle those things. They are the type of people that have experience in writing up contracts that say we will pay you this much to make the game now, we will pay you this much once the game ships, we'll pay you this much if you're over budget, we'll do this, and we have the ability to find you and hunt you down if you run off with all the money and don't do any of the work. Uh, which, as far as Indiegogo and Kickstarter goes, I mean, it's just this ridiculous. Both those sites are really just trying to protect themselves so they can get their 10% cut on all donations, and by protecting themselves they also protect people who do want to run scams. Uh, so it's all basically just gambling and not something an individual should do. Even this new one that was created where you could be an accredited investor and actually get a percentage of the sales if the game comes out and is very good. Even that one's still really just a system designed to protect the game creators. It stops you from having the rights, say, to fire somebody from the board or take over the company if you invest too much, which a lot of times are good things, sometimes might be bad things. If it turns out that the CEO of this corporation that's making this game is the main barrier for the game actually coming out and making profit, in a regular investment you could buy enough shares to vote him out. In this new one, which I think is called Ivy, you're buying into a shell company that is only represents the profits from it.
The dam stand ready. Job's done.
Really, all of these systems are around the thought that I can certainly understand and almost agree with, that wouldn't it be great if there was no boss? Wouldn't it be great if there was no management? But the truth is, sometimes, on rare occasions, some manager out there actually does have some experience. I mean, I hate management about as much as anybody else, probably more than most people, but I'm not sure I would trust even myself to run around completely unchecked and unbalanced, and that's what they want when they're saying Indiegogo. We want no liability, no checks, no balances. We just want money so we can program forever. And it doesn't really put any pressure on anybody to finish a game. We've seen games that have been rushed out because there was too much pressure. But we've seen a lot more games well, actually we haven't seen, and that's the problem, a lot more games that just didn't get finished. Duke Nukem Forever is a great example of a game that should have had more pressure to finish quicker, because they were
My fate is sealed.
Sort of working on that game for 10 years straight, different companies and different teams, and that's just not acceptable. There should have been 5 terrible Duke Nukem games in that time frame, and that's how you really should look at it. It's like, yeah, it could have been 5 terrible Duke Nukem games, but if they wanted to continue making them, they wanted, that's up to them, to the publishers. But that game was not good even after 10 plus years of somewhat being developed, even though a lot of that development was restarted. Let's see. This one's not gonna be good. Let's see. Let's go ahead and kill
My fate is sealed.
this one. Is this gonna heal or hurt? Nope, it hurt me. That wasn't smart. in the turn. So there's tons of games that never even got announced from programmers that were that case. And yeah, programmers aren't managers or project leads. Inherently, that's what it gets down to, is that when you want to make the quality of game that most people require these days, you need project leaders. If you don't want to call them managers. Let's see. We'll kill this one. See which one that heals.
Feel my pain.
And then we'll attack for that.
Job's done.
Think we'll go 2 more games on this recording, and then I want to just come back and record another recording, so we have 3. We'll just play casual. Somewhat close to the end of the season, the month, so let's see. I think I can do this. Oh, I'm so close.
Feel my pain.
Just, whose health do we want to double? This one.
Job's done.
So 6, 7, 8. If you can do 1 more damage, he's won. I miscounted. Yep, I just lost. That's an oops.
Not quite possible.
Well played.
That was an oops. I did that to myself too. I would have won had I not hurt my face earlier in the game. So, one of the mind crackers people in the Minecraft group got early access to Tales from, no, wait, not Tales from the Borderlands. That's coming out later, next week actually, as of this recording. He got early access to Minecraft Story Mode, which is made by the same people, Telltale Games, but then he got content ID'd by some random group claiming that they owned either the video or audio from that game, which it's always some foreign country people. I don't know how they get access to the content ID system at all. That's the real question, is if I was going to personally try and go put every single video I have into Content ID and claim that it's mine, I don't know how to do that. I don't think YouTube would allow me. So I don't know why these other organizations seem to be able to do it. I think they snuck in before YouTube stopped letting people into that system. Would be my only real guess.
Face the light.
But Content ID is a nightmare, and I understand it and appreciate that. I don't know about the Minecracker really complaining about it. It certainly probably did lose him money, and that's inherently the danger of YouTube in itself, is that if you put a video that's brand new out there, somebody can content ID it very fast, and then the money just kind of seems to disappear in the YouTube's pockets. Would be my real guess of where it goes.
Face the light.
Which maybe inherently that's why the content ID system is so bad, is because it's just YouTube profiting off of it non-stop. And I'd like to get away from YouTube and do something like Patreon on top of ad revenue or instead of ad revenue. If the Patreon system was enough for me to live off of this year, I'd turn off ads on everything. That doesn't really stop content ID problems, however, because then they still come about for other reasons. I don't have a coin yet.
Well played.
Let's see.
Face the light.
We'll end the turn there. It might be worthwhile to keep this guy at full health,
I am master
just in
of
case they
magic.
have a spell that would kill a damaged minion. Well, he could do that. Yeah. Alright, that totally sucked.
Embrace the void.
We'll start with this. Nice and easy. That'll buy us another turn. That was a waste of a card. Should have just used this ability. No. He wanted to hit me in the face.
How many fingers do you see?
So, all that pumping up doesn't really matter once I get the Holy Champion out here. We've gone from the Light Wardens to the Holy Champions being very helpful in this deck. Still not a great deck. Well, it's probably a good deck. It's just not. I suppose in general, the better thing is the deck doesn't make the player. Even if I had a lot better cards, it's not gonna solve my lack of knowledge. I am definitely missing some stuff. Some knowledge. Here we go.
Does this hurt?
Smash that guy in the face. I guess I want to get the tournament medic out pretty soon if I'm gonna keep on using this Spawn of Shadows. So he can kill this one.
I hope you like my invention.
Alright, we'll summon this one, and then
The
summon
damned
this
stand
one,
ready.
and end the turn. I've forgotten what I was talking about now. I don't remember what I was talking about really. Started talking about the game play. Content ID, yeah. Content ID is always going to be a problem. And pretty much as I'm expanding more to just all games instead of hand picking, I used to like find the game companies that
How
were
many
going to be
fingers do you see?
super careful and make sure that their audio and video footage, it wasn't in Content ID. Now it's like I still look for ones that give written permission, but even the ones that give written permission, a lot of games are in Content ID by somebody. Whether it's the real company or not, I don't know. I can't know. The only way I can really know is to have a lawyer ready and let him actually try and sue me. At that point, you would potentially be able to get some kind of contact information and face your accuser, but as far as YouTube is concerned, no, there's no right to face your accuser at all, and so they can be completely fraudulent people. Alright.
Does this hurt?
Let's go ahead and kill these two. Heal these two. Power up. Then we'll end our turn. So yeah, like DMC, Child of Light, Overlord, Deus Ex, those are 4 games just in the past series that I've tried to record that have had very heavy Content ID matches on them. And they just keep coming, and I just keep on disputing them, and haven't had anybody reaffirm any since Game of Thrones. Which kind of makes me wonder the couple of games that I had done right at the beginning. Maybe I should just go back and redo them and try to fight that Content ID. Record new videos. Don't just upload the same old ones, because that might irritate YouTube, or they might detect that. But go back and really try to fight those, because that's not what I did, and I was in a much more scared and reactionary mode at that time, because I just hadn't toughened up to realize how the Content ID system just always Content IDs things. And I have certainly made some maneuvers around it by recording videos of old games and waiting 30 days before anything gets published. That allows me to get rid of a lot of them, which you can't really do and when they're new, because if you put something out brand new, it'll get the views, though. It still gets the views. That's inherently the other issue that people have to remember, is that if I get 1 million views on something because I put it out new, and it doesn't get any revenue at all because it's Content ID match for 500,000 of those for the first 30 days. Well, once that dispute is gone, the other 500,000 are still going to be getting you revenue, and yes, you lost half as much as you could have made, but you still made way more by getting your video out early and getting those 1 million views in the first place, which is way more important, because views per every single show helps your entire channel. So it may get you 500,000 views, and these are really big numbers for examples, by the way. it may get you 500,000 views for that video, but it almost certainly is going to get you 3 or 4 million other views for other videos. So it all works together, and you definitely want your video out even if it's not monetized at all. And that's why a lot of people just don't turn it on for some videos anyways. Anywho, that's it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment if you want to, and watch every second of my videos. All of that helps me out. If you want to support me, you can click on my name, Rydo. On the right will be a blue button that says support this channel. Click it and make a donation. If you want to friend or follow me on basically any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.